What's good, man? Which? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? All right, guys. So, yeah, or should I say yesterday, I put up a documentary about what's up, man? What's up? Yeah, man, I'm just riding, man. I'm working from home. I figure I'd get in the car and ride a little bit while I did the video. What the hell? All right. Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up, Kel? That's the song right there. I love that song. Can't call Miles. Miles Davis. What up? What up? Hey, Omega. Boy, I used to love that song. That CD was tough. Or should I say tape, right? They had a song called Fantasy. You should go check it out. Miles Davis Fantasy. Go check it out. Beautiful song. Anyway, this is the thing, man. So I put the documentary up, and before I talk about it, I want to address a comment that somebody made in ignorance, and it just shows the typical ignorance of the Hoteps, right? I don't even know if the brother Hotep, maybe he's an atheist. I don't know. But the thing is, this is what the brother said. Said, see, there wasn't any Abrahamic religion in sight, and they were victorious. Like, nigga, that's what you got out of that. Number one, first of all, let me say this, guys. They had experienced missionaries through trade in the early 1600s. And that is actually what helped contribute the Warring States period. I did my homework, brothers. The Warring States period was a period that went from about, what was it, 1467 to the early 1600s, roughly, about 150 years, something like that. But they was running around killing each other, fighting to become the shogun, which was basically the ruler of all of the samurais. This is like the number one headband in the Afro samurai, right? So in order to get the number one headband, the samurais was killing each other. And they had a lot of war. It was warring with each other and killing each other, or fighting over the title of shogun, right? Now, what I want to say was that when a lot of the church started to have an effect in there, a lot of the people, now this is the difference. They became Christians, right? So it helped them stop fighting each other. But then what happened, now this is interesting, guys. There was a guy, Ieyasu, last name, Shiagawa, something like that. So he got in, and what he did was, he wanted to stay with the old traditional ways of Japan. So he helped the Dutch. He did a deal with the Dutch. Now check this out. He did a deal with the Dutch to come in and do trade. But he got rid of all the others, the English and the French and all of them. They ran them out. He kicked them out of their ports. And then he crushed the Christian rebellion. This is what he did, right? And when he did that, he made sure that they stayed faithful. He made sure that they stayed faithful to their old traditional ways, and basically locked them into basically like the 1600s. It's almost like they just got stuck in a time warp, right? So almost 100 years, and then what happened, this guy came into port, Admiral Perry, he was American, and what happened was Admiral Perry basically stuck them in basically forced them to open up their ports. They didn't have no choice. And so what the Japanese did was they basically adopted a lot of Western ways, including the church was in. The point I'm trying to make is, A lot of these guys on the internet, they'll just watch a YouTube video and think they know history and just start trying to quote. And this nigga spoke in ignorance, and it got some likes behind it to come in. But this is the typical nigga. We'll do YouTube research. I'll put a video up and you gonna speak in ignorance. See that they didn't have no Abrahamic religion. Dude, what are you talking about? Like, know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Just don't just run around here saying some dumb shit, which is what the typical nigga do. That's what we do. And we think we know history and all that shit and don't know what the hell we talking about. All right? So anyway, that being said, let me go ahead and address the point of the elephant in the room. Guys, if you watch that documentary, what I actually respect about them, and shout out to my homeboy John Norman, because he made me go back and rewatch this documentary and do some research on it and look up the Magi Restoration. Because what I think people don't understand is that in the Magi Restoration, when they came in, what the to do and what I respect about them, they were smart enough to come in contact with a superior culture, recognize it was a superior culture, and study it and learn from it. Guys, that's why I got mad respect for them. Unlike unlike us, see, we'll rather cling whole to inferior culture. See, let's go there for a sec. See, that's black folks. We'll go and cling to an inferior culture, because I'm sorry, the Europeans were a superior. Even the Japanese were smart enough to recognize, dudes, if we go out there with samurai swords up against these dudes, we gonna get destroyed. They were smart enough. They studied. They was like, man, let's go study their culture. Dude, Admiral Perry came in and gave them a toy train. Dude, do you realize they were so smart? They went and in 15 years, guys, 15 years. Now think about that for a second. 15 years, that's like saying 2004, okay? So they, from 2004 to 2019, they built an actual real train. That speaks to intelligence, guys. That speaks to not only intelligence, like innate intelligence, but just an ability to adopt and learn a superior culture and not be so caught up into their traditional ways like we are. That's why Africa was so conquered. They held on to certain things about the Bushido and the way of the samurai. They still believe in that. And that's why they are like they are about business, and they have this honor system that they have where they'll kill themselves if they don't succeed. Like, they own that shit, right? But did they see, that's what we can learn. Instead of being so caught up in trying to hold on to a lot of shit that really, dare I say, is inferior. That really isn't you know, the way we should be functioning. When you see some shit that work, you got to be smart enough to step back your ego and your pride as an African American or as ADOS and say, man, this shit ain't working, dog. This way of the streets code, I ain't snitching. This, you know, I'm a real nigga, I'm a street nigga, I'm tough, I'm this, I'm that. That shit don't work for black folks. It's only gotten us destruction. This is why I said we can learn from the Japanese. If you have not watched that documentary, go got it. It was the last video I put up last night. Those people were smart. Look here, man. I take my hat off to them. That's why when my homeboy was like, the only reason Japan became Japan is because the West did trade deals. I'm like, you don't know what the fuck you talking about. Shout out to my homeboy. I love you. You don't know your shit, dog. You don't. Me and him got in this big argument. He kept over talking me. I said, no, dude. The Japanese ain't like everybody else. The Japanese went, dude, do you understand that in 35 years from Admiral Perry coming and doing that, they defeated the Russians in war? A Western nation. So they studied their culture so good, so quick, that in 35 years, it wasn't even 40 years, dude, they was able to defeat the Russians with that so-called superior technology. Now, where they fucked up at, they made enemies because they was very pan-Asian. They call it pan-Asian. They were very pan-Asian. Sound familiar? And then what happened, they was like, man, we can't wait for everybody else to get caught up like the Chinese and all them. Fuck them. We just gonna go ahead and start invading China, Korea. And they started warring with one another. You know what I'm saying? But they had defeated the Russians, dude. Think about that for a second. They learned their culture, sucked up the game, and got good at the shit. And in 1945, they had to drop bombs on their ass to stop them. Guys, the Japanese are look, those are some people we need to study, dude. Like, on some real shit, man. Real talk. You know what I'm saying? We need to study these people. It's okay to be Christian. They had Christians in their country, but they was like, look here, man, we ain't taking no oppression. Even Matsu Chiagawa, whatever his name, was oppressing those people. And them Christians rose up and rebelled. They wasn't with it. Like, that you got to understand that that's not what it meant. You know what I'm saying? People act like, see that they gave you Christianity. See, no, that's our dumb ass. That's us. Don't put that on the faith, because other people got in it and they was like, oh, okay, we Christians, but we finna rise up. We ain't finna take no bullshit from your ass. That's what we finna do. And that's what they did. You know what I'm saying? Black folks, man, I'm sorry. Like, I got mad respect for these people. I'm not gonna just kiss their ass. I don't think they better than us in that regard, but I do respect the fact that they were able to get out here, step up and say, you know what, I'm gonna get away from this whole ideology of, you know, thinking that our old traditional ways are the best. Our old Japanese culture is superior. No, it wasn't, dog. These people showed up with ships. These people showed up with technology. They recognized, they were smart enough to recognize that they had inferior technology, inferior culture. They knew it. And they said, man, let's learn. That's smart. See, right now, what black people need to do, I'm going to tell you what your ass need to do. Culturally, right now, we have inferior culture. Sorry. Okay, I know you think you better. I know you listen to the hotels and they tell you that you God and all that. You getting your ass kicked, okay? Culturally, you need to adopt certain things from the Africans. We need to adopt certain things from the Asians that come to America and are able to win. Why? What do they do? What's up? What is it about their culture that makes them work so hard? Because that shit is superior to our culture. Or whatever. I know I don't want to hear that shit about black people don't got no culture. We don't got no. Nigga, stay your ass off my channel with them dumbass comments. You know what I'm talking about. These are slaves in the way we operate in this country, okay? Do I need to say it like that? You know what I mean by culture. You know what I'm talking about. People always want to sound like they're the smartest man in the room. That's the problem. Like, I'm so intelligent. We don't have a culture. We don't have, because you don't listen to your little, you know, whatever it is, and you know, well, our culture has this, a culture has that. We don't have that. Okay, dog. You know what I'm talking about. Black people in America. Okay, that's it. Black people in America need to adopt from the cultures of other nations, immigrants that come here and how they operate and what they do. See what I'm saying? Because there are certain things us. You'd be a fool, right? What did Shaka Zulu say? Shaka Zulu said, if the leopard was offered wings to fly, he'd be a fool to turn them down. You'd be a fool, black people, to not recognize the greatness of another culture. And I think what happens is we don't get caught. We don't do that. We don't stay. I like Tum and Soul. Tum and Soul talks about that. Tum and Soul had a lecture. I was listening to him one time. I think it's called Disparities and something. I think I have to check it out. But anyway, discrimination and disparities or whatever. I forget the name of it. But anyway, he was talking about it, and he was basically saying, guys, whenever two cultures come into contact and the superior culture dominates the inferior culture, and what happens is the inferior culture in time actually improves because of the superior culture. So actually, it actually helps and benefits. I know this is some emotional shit for us as black people. So what you saying, that the white man conquering us was good? Look, guys, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there's a such thing as a superior culture. There's a such thing as an inferior culture. And a lot of times what you guys need to understand is some cultures are actually better than others. And sometimes it just outright helps us to get in the game and learn from other people, man. And that's what he said. Thomas Sowell in so many words is basically saying that people get conquered and it actually benefits and it helps them in the long run. You know what I'm saying? Say what you will about the Japanese. When they got conquered, look at them now. They got the third largest economy in the world. I mean, the Japanese, you know what I'm saying, do some things that I think we need to adopt. There's certain things we need to adopt from certain cultures. We don't have to adopt everything from a culture. You don't. But you can adopt a lot of things from these cultures, guys. I think that's the thing that we think everything about us is just great, guys. traditional African religions and stuff. We love to talk about that shit. Those people got conquered though, just so you know. I'm just telling you that you know, Ogun didn't help them. I know Tariq likes to talk about that. That didn't help, brothers. And so that didn't help. Like, I mean, I'm not saying, I'm just saying, like, you could talk all that, you know, about the church and this and that, but guess what? They got conquered following that stuff. So when they talk about it like they do, that's one little, you know, nugget that they love to leave out. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Eat meat, spit out the bones. I agree. You know what I'm saying? I think the thing is, guys, the Japanese, not to a certain extent, I almost think it's unhealthy because they change their eyes and I mean, they really like deep. They draw their cartoons like white people because Dragon Ball Z looks just like American. He looks American. He don't look me. I would draw my cartoons to look like us. But damn that. You're not gonna rule my imagination. You know what I'm saying? Now that part I think is unhealthy. I think they are damn near overly embrace the culture. But bro, it's worked. Whether we can say that they got self-hate, you can say they got self-hate. We may call it self-hate, but damn it, the Japanese have won. And that's what's going on in Asia right now. The Asians are on the rise. And the Asians are taking over. The Asians are taking over the you know, the world right now, man. It's their time right now, bro. And a lot now, of course, there was some animosity between the Japanese and the other people over there because when they first defeated the Russians, how they treated everybody. They just thought they was better than everybody. You know what I'm saying? Yep, eating dinner, discussing how it goes, where it goes back porch talks and dinner table talk. It works. Yeah, it does. It does. Good point, man. Great point. But guys, I got mad respect for them, man. And I think one of the things that I do like about it, guys, you got to understand, they immersed themselves in that shit in a short period of time. K ass on, he just jumped running right in front of me. In a short amount of time, guys, they were able to get out there and start doing things quick, guys. Like right now, if I talk about Silicon Valley, a lot of us as black people, man, we can't do that shit, man. That ain't us. You know, no, yes, the hell you can. Shout out to man, I ought to make a video. You know how many students I got that gave me testimonials from getting jobs, man? I got testimony. I ought to make a video and just put it up. I probably got like 12, 13 students, but they didn't call me. I got another student call me last night. You know what I'm saying? So my students are getting, Japanese also got a Marshall Plan, the U.S. bankrolled them after World War II. Okay. Let's look at that for a second. Guys, yes, they got a Marshall Plan, but if you really believe that the Marshall Plan, well, they got reparations, if you really think, guys, now this is what I'm talking about. It's not, the Japanese success was not based on the Marshall Plan, guys. I'm telling you now, they are a proud people. If you study, that's why I went back before. That's what made me go and look at the Meiji Restoration, because the Meiji Restoration speaks to the resilience and fortitude and intestinal fortitude of the Japanese people and culture. The Japanese people are not where they are right now because of the Marshall Plan. The Marshall Plan it did help. I'm not going to say it didn't. That would just be stupid. I'm not going to say that. The Japanese people did not need a Marshall Plan. The Marshall Plan, I'm going to tell you why they did that. They did the Marshall Plan because they was like, okay, we're going to strip you of your military, but we'll rebuild you just to help you. Okay, fine. They didn't need that. These people, think about it, guys. Admiral Perry came in there with a port in the 1853. And from 1853, over in 35, 40 years, under 40 years later, they defeated the Russians. These guys was riding horses and using samurai swords, and in 40 years, they was defeating the Russians. Just think about that for a second. What's up, mister? You know what I'm saying? 40 years, they was defeating the Russians, guys. That is amazing. You know what I'm saying? These people are not like the average culture that we see out here. Okay, swim team, cool. So the thing is, guys, these people, their culture, not one that allows people to say that, okay, well, they got reparations, and that's why. See, we as black people, we need to feel good about our failure, so we'll say that the Japanese, the only reason the Japanese are where they are is because, and this is what started it with my homeboy. He was trying to say that the only reason the Japanese and Asians and Koreans are where they are is because they got trade deals with America in the West, and that's why they where they at. That's why Africa's where it is, because his wife is African. He got in his feelings because I talked about the failure of Africa. You know what I'm saying? I just started talking about it. He's like, no, man, no. I'm like, no, brother. No, there was failure in Africa, and it has nothing to do with the you want to act like Africa's where it's at just because that's really what this brought this video on. But their economic success in the 20th century was largely due to the martial. No, it wasn't. I disagree totally. How could see? That's what I'm saying. That's just. I would say it's part of it. So you telling me? Hold on. So think about this for a second. You telling me that a people who went from riding horses and with swords and in a few short years was one of the most powerful militaries on the planet, so much so they fought the Americans to a stalemate, guys. Think about this shit for a second. The Japanese fought us to a stalemate. We could not beat them. This ain't have shit to do with no Marshall Plan. They were a powerful, mighty people. They wasn't here in bullshit. You got to get. It's one thing for somebody to say, "Hey, they wrote you a check. That's why you made it." But a person that has a certain resilience about themselves, that's like a black person. That's like saying if Robert Smith is where he at because of welfare or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Robert Smith is Robert Smith because that's what the fuck he was gonna be. You go back and look at Robert Smith's history. He's Robert Smith. You can tell he was good. Excellence rises to the top. I think the Marshall Plan is definitely part of it, brother. But I think the part you're missing, and the reason that the Marshall Plan was able to take them where it took them, was because of the people that they were. I'm gonna go look into all that. I'm gonna do Japan after World War II. I'm gonna put a video. I'm gonna go into this shit today. You know what I'm saying? The Marshall Plan was only to European countries. Okay, so that's the thing. So I think the thing is, we really believe that. That's the thing. I don't think that the Japanese became the Japanese because of no Marshall Plan or whatever you want to call it, the aid that they got. No, that was to help them rebuild their country. You don't become the third largest economy in the world because they helped you like that. That's bullshit. Those people had already exhibited. Let's look at Mitsubishi. The way that the Japanese company Mitsubishi came about, they say, look, we want to get in the industry. And these people were already manufacturing. They had jumped into manufacturing. They actually caught up with our ass and they caught up with us real quick. You know what I'm saying? And what happened, okay, they going back and forth. This is the thing. I agree with James Earl Mones. This is the thing. They were able to become what they were. $2 billion is chump change, number one. Now, maybe in those dollars, it helped. But, dude, when Mitsubishi came about, the Japanese government said, look, we want to make sure you succeed. So what we're going to do is we're going to front you some money and make sure that you good till you get on your feet. Right? This ain't got shit to do with the West. This is just, look, we see what it takes. That's like right now, if some brother, they invested in their best and brightest. Guys, this is the same principles that I be trying to tell y'all, man. This is the same shit that people be, and when somebody say invest in the best and brightest, that's what it was. They invested in Mitsubishi. Mitsubishi became a powerhouse of a company, right? And they within a short amount of time, we talking about 60 years, these dudes went from riding horses to being one of the most powerful militaries on the planet. They fought America, take in mind all of the American ingenuity, all of the shit that we had, the Industrial Revolution. They had all the shit going for them in America. And the little bit ass Japan fought them to a stalemate, guys. You understand what that means? And it wasn't just because these people were a proud people. They wasn't finished. It wasn't about no Marshall Plan. If they didn't get the Marshall Plan, Japan would have came back. They would have fucked around and came back. I believe that shit. They would have one of the most powerful militaries on this planet. They would still be one of the strongest economies on the planet. I don't believe that shit.
That's what you got. Because guys, you like, that's like saying if we give black people reparations, black people become the wealthiest people on the planet or some shit, able to rival the Jews. Bullshit. Most of y'all already talking about it. Well, if they gave black people reparations, niggas so stupid they'll go out and buy cars and get the money right back to the white man. See there? You see what I'm talking about? So already we're saying that if we got our quote unquote Marshall Plan, we would fuck it up, a lot of us. So like we so fucked up mentally that you got people telling us that we don't probably need money. We need to figure out another way. It need to be probably just for business investments. Because if we got some money, we will fuck it up. That, like, you get what I'm saying? You can't say that about the Japanese though. The Japanese got that shit. Whatever it was, that little bit amount of money that they got, also the pride of their nation. The Japanese wanted to be what they were. They went and studied Western culture and they dominated that. Now they dominate the West in their own shit. You know what I'm saying? Isn't that where we dropped the bomb? Yeah, we dropped the bomb twice. Yep, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Afraid to receive money due to a tricking demon. Historical culture. The Japanese also had a strong identifiable and historical culture. You probably late, brother. You late. I wasn't saying that they don't have that. I never said that. I don't think you're going at me. Let me kind of reiterate, because somebody might come in here and say, well, we can't do what the Japanese did because they got a strong culture. And then, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying what we can learn. See, it's almost like you can't improve and black people can't change their mindset, because I'm trying to introduce a historical example, because there will be black people that will tell you shit is impossible and that it can't be done. And there's no way black people can do da 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 da. I'm like, well, the Japanese did it. And then the first thing, well, they had a culture. I'm like, no, you got to see what the fuck they did. Everybody had. What happened? Why Africa ain't? Well, they had trade deals. Excuses. The Japanese were a different people. They handled this shit way different. Even the Chinese. The Chinese were dominated by the West. They had the opium. They put them on drugs and shit like that. The Japanese saw that shit and were like, hell no, that ain't finna happen to us. The Japanese was smart with that shit, man. We need to what they call benchmark. Learn how to benchmark shit and learning and mimic. You know what I'm saying? Certain shit that'll probably help us survive in nature. Certain butterflies mimic other butterflies, and certain caterpillars and certain animals mimic other animals for protection, guys. You can learn from other animals and from others' cultures. If black people can't do that, then we will be destroyed, people. We better learn how to. We better be able to do that shit. If it's impossible, it's over, because the way lead to destruction, guys. We will be destroyed. The only thing that's gonna save our ass is being able to adopt shit from other superior cultures. I'm sorry, this shit is superior. That's what the Japanese were literally. They didn't have such an ego. See, let's go there for a second. Although they were a proud people, they weren't stupid with it. Like we so proud, we dumb, we stupid, ignorant. We'll do some dumb shit. You know who we would be? We would be the guys that they had to fight and kill off, that wanted to hold on to the shogun culture and hold on to the samurai. They wanted to, that's who black people would be. The people that wanted to be proud of their heritage and their history and what they did hundreds of years ago, and we did this and we did that. Damn that, we don't need this. And the smart people in Japan was like, nah, bro, these people got guns, they'll kill your ass. You ain't nothing you can do with them. We need to study their culture. We need to learn from them. Black people, we won't do that. We'll just hold on to what the fuck happened thousands of years ago. We built the pyramids. That sound familiar? Don't that sound like the samurais that wanted to hold on to their old culture? See what I'm saying? And what happened? A lot of them got killed off. Let me tell you what happened. So the Japanese actually, I forget the guy's name. I think it was the Magi when they first got in. What happened? They when he first got in, so the samurais they were so upset in the South that this is how they unified Japan, right? So they was really upset. So they started fighting and killing Europeans and different people. So a war started, right? And so the Magi, the Emperor Magi, or whatever they called it, were actually
the people under Emperor Magi were actually more advanced. They had uniforms, guns. They were actually trained like European soldiers. Well, they went up against the samurai, and the samurai tried to come out there with their little swords and shit, and it didn't go. As needless to say, the shit didn't go well for them. They got killed, a lot of them. So the guy that led this revolt went up into the mountains and committed Japanese ritualistic suicide, and he became a martyr and all this and all that, right? Now, the point I'm trying to make is, yeah, that actually a samurai movie. Yeah, swim team, I don't think we going at it, bro. I agree with you. That's all I was saying. I ain't even say you. I ain't think you was against me. I thought y'all was going at it when y'all was disagreeing or whatever. Not going at it, but you know what I'm saying? So what happened is, I think a lot of us African Americans, what we do is we tend to be so proud of our African heritage and want to hold on to that shit. A lot of that shit was inferior, guys. I'm sorry. That's why our ass was conquered, okay? And instead of us embracing this culture and learning from it and mastering it, we hate it. Like today, we hate America so much. We hate our American heritage and whatever we want to call it, our culture, whatever our experience. We shame people for adopting that shit. And we call niggas coons when they say they're American. Man, I'm American. I'm this, I'm that. And we shame people for that shit. I'm sorry, that shit run the world right now. Everybody else is trying to, the Chinese have adopted capitalism when we hate capitalism. That was used to subjugate, you stupid nigga. Dumb, just stupid. We do dumb shit, but that's how black people do. You know what I'm saying? We do ignorant shit like that. We see a motherfucker winning and we go against it because of our pride and ego and saying, you know what, man, this technology's taking over, you know, we need to go ahead and do this. We need to go ahead and do that. No, we don't do that. That's not what we do. We tend to embrace and hold on to the old shit, even though that shit ain't work. And we very nostalgic and want to be proud of some shit that was thousands of years ago in our golden era. But them days are over, guys. And right now, if your ass don't embrace technology, right? Because when I started talking about math, the dude was like, it ain't about math. It's about, I'm like, you stupid idiot. This is an information age. You need to get on board. Your ass, you sound like a damn dinosaur. What happened? Well, I don't believe in that shit, but I'm just saying, the dinosaurs did become extinct, whatever reason. So you sound like one. Okay, what I'm saying is the preservation of your culture, it gives you the initiative to strategize. Brother, okay. So if that's the case, then why isn't the Hotep community doing the shit that you just said? Because the Hotep community trying to preserve their African heritage and all that shit. Black folks been doing that shit for years. You know, so let me see what it says to strategize. When you don't hold worth and value in your culture, it will fail. We don't value. Agreed right there, we don't. But what I'm saying is, I think we hold a lot of black men especially are very Afrocentric. We worship Africa. Come on, guys. We got all these Hotep guys out here. So you got that, but does that mean that you gonna turn around and do what they did? And another thing, if you go watch that documentary, those people they pretty much got rid of damn near everything that was Japanese, old ancient Japanese. Only thing they kept was like a few pieces of it, the Bushido, way of the samurai. They kept that, but other than that, they got rid of all that shit, man. They embraced that shit faster than anybody. I think they did the complete opposite. And almost to the point where I think the shit was unhealthy. I think that we as African Americans, that's some shit we don't know how to do. We don't know how to see some shit, adopt, and not think that we selling our soul out. Because the first thing an African American would do, if in that, we would be the samurai. We would call them niggas coons and sellouts. Come on now. But see, that those people didn't get subjugated. They actually embraced that shit so much so to the point where they were actually victorious and were able to defeat the Russians in 30 years, 35 years after having opened up their ports to the West. That's some powerful shit, though. That ain't just, you see what I'm saying? So the idea of trying to hold on to your culture actually probably is what the samurais would have did. But those people was like, I'm not gonna hold on. I'm gonna embrace everything American, beer, meat, everything. You go look it up. This is called the Magi Restoration. That's what they did. These people wasn't out here on that African pride shit like we are. They let that shit win. Like, you can be proud of your heritage. Like, it's okay. I'm still African. I still have that. I still love my people. I'm Pan-African. It's leanings, not a Pan-African, but I have Pan-African leanings. I feel a certain way about my culture and all that shit. But at the same time, I'm willing to embrace technology, guys. Sorry about that. I'm willing to embrace the technology and move forward into the 21st century. I'm willing to get with the times. A lot of us aren't willing to get with the times. And you'll say, well, yeah, where are we not willing to get with the times? When I start talking about Mav on O'Shea's channel and how I was attacked, when I talk about the fact that culturally, or whatever you want to call it, whatever, I'm going to say culture, I'm talking about black people in America, okay? I'm not finna keep fixing that shit for worrying about these damn brainiac ass niggas on the internet that ain't talking about shit. But every time I say the word culture, we don't have a culture. We don't have a culture. I don't feel like debating your ass about that shit, okay? Like, go tell that shit to somebody else. We don't got no culture. Fine, all right, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. The way black people operate in America, okay? I don't want to... The thing is, guys, the way black people operate in America, we've embraced the old ways too much sometimes, I think. I think we want to hold on to the past too much. We'll sit and talk. Guys, there are black people that can go into black history like you wouldn't believe. Like, I know black people that can sit down and talk to me for hours about Nile Valley culture. They'll name all the pharaohs, the dynasties, the negative dynasties, the Kemet dynasties, the Akebulon dynasty, whatever they want to call that shit, right? King Taharka this, King Taharka that. They'll talk about that shit for hours, 6-7 hours straight, right? But when it come down to it, when you want to talk about building businesses and moving forward into the 20, embracing technology, that's when your ass gonna hear some crickets. That's when you gonna get some niggas that don't know what the fuck they talking about, and they gonna be quiet. And that's because we don't do that. We'll talk. That's what I'm saying. It's okay to be proud of your African, heritage and tradition. I have no problem with it, but also be willing to embrace the future and embrace the times. And a lot of us aren't. A lot of us aren't, because all we do is talk. If they preserve the heritage, why don't they start with elevating themselves just like the people in the past fought for? Exactly. Damn good point. Damn good point. Afrocentric hotels don't value or understand capitalism. Therefore, they are stagnant because they are tribal socialists. Damn good point, King. Damn good point, King, sir. Cultures of power include economic development. It worked for China. Guys, but let me tell you the funny thing about China. China was, when they first ran into the superior culture of the Europeans, they got subjugated, guys. They were subjugated under the Europeans. They weren't not there like that, dog. They wasn't just kicking ass like the Japanese did. Japanese aren't. But what's the name? They wasn't, man. Japanese was smart, but the Chinese and a lot of the others, Koreans, they wasn't smart with that shit. They got subjugated under European rule, man. You know what I'm saying? The Opium Wars and all that shit, because one of the emperors got tired of that shit, tried to kick them off, tried to kick them out of that. So they got subjugated. But the beautiful thing about the Asians that I got mad respect for, they didn't stay subjugated for long. They didn't. A lot of the Asians got rid of that shit. You see what I'm saying? They did. They got them out. They were subjugated for a short period. Unlike Africans. Africans to this day are subjugated, and now they're being subjugated by the Asians, and they don't think they are. We don't think we're being subjugated by it. That's exactly what the hell is going on. They just doing that shit. The smart. See, the Asians are smart, man. They real crafty. Let me tell you what the Asians doing. They're like, hey, we'll build you some bridges. We'll give you this, but hey, it's better than the white man. Yeah, let me get some diamonds. Let me get some gold. Let me get some oil. Tell you what, let me build me a highway, right? Next thing you know, your ass gonna be second-class citizens in the place that your ancestors had. I'm telling you what's gonna happen. That's what's about to happen in Africa. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, I'm already logged into the computer. My computer logged in. I'm technically at work.
I'm at work. You ain't know that, Naeem? You better ask somebody. That should have been a lesson from the movie. Let's see. And that's the thing, guys. I think a lot of times where we make mistakes as African Americans is we're so history oriented that we so much romanticize our history and our heritage. Look at, we on Hidden Colors 10 damn near. Think about that shit. One of the biggest parts of being woke or awake is talking about history, which I don't have no problem with history. Accurate history, first of all, not that bullshit that you see on Hidden Colors. I'm sorry, it is. A lot of it is. Okay, just take somebody and just let them talk and they ain't been vetted. That's a problem. That's I don't call that history. You know, that's pseudo history. But anyway, but one of the biggest things about us as black people is talking about our history so our children can be proud and say, hey, I'm proud because historically, you know, so-and-so invented the first da-da-da-da-da-da, and we did this, and we fought back here, and we did this, and we did that, and Queen Nzinga did this, and so-and-so did this. And so, you know, I know, and I'm proud of that shit too. I'd be a lie if I say I don't draw pride from that level of history and seeing what our ancestors were able to accomplish, Christian, non-Christian, whatever, right? But the thing is, guys, where I think we fall short is once we do that, we stop. We don't do shit else. We don't feel like it's okay, that was his legacy. What's gonna be mine? You know what I'm saying? Because, and so what the Japanese did was they saw what was going on, they read the tea leaves, and they said, you know what, shit is fucked up out here. Let me go ahead. We about to be conquered if we don't learn this culture. They went faster than anybody ever did and immersed themselves. They sent dignitaries over there and they soaked up the game. How the hell somebody get off a boat, give you some technology you've never seen, and in 15 years, you done built a big, gigantic, real version of that shit. A toy train. They went from a toy train to a real train in 15 years, guys. That shit, I marvel at that shit. Like, I'm not to sit and say, damn, I wish we had done that. We didn't do that shit. And to this day, some of us are clinging hard to socialism over there right now. Hard. I mean, some of them Africans over there, they clinging hard to that tribal socialism shit that King was just talking about. You know, the World Bank controls the Japanese economy to keep them in perpetual recession. That's white supremacy. Just saying. Okay. But let me say this. Before the World Bank and all of them got to the point where they was able to subjugate them, they still have the third largest economy in the world. So we could talk about the World Bank and how it keeps them in constant recession and all this and that. I'll have to go and do some research into everything and go and get the ins and outs. We can't just say World Bank. Because see, this is one of the things that we tend to do when we talk about international policies. We make it so strong and so powerful that you can't even, it's almost like it's not, you know what I'm saying? Like we can't see where the Japanese actually did some boss shit. Because soon as I started talking about this with my homeboy, and I said, man, a lot of these African nations aren't doing what they supposed to do. The first thing he said was, well, that's because the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank did da-da-da-da-da-da-da, right? We hear that shit over and over. I'm like, wait a minute. So you got all these black people over here with diamonds, with shit, all these resources at their feet, like, and they can't build shit. They can't do nothing. And then not only that, when the colonization of it ended in the early part of the 20th century, and a lot of these European nations started leaving, they had infrastructure which they didn't even maintain. They got that. No. That shit ain't got nothing to do with no World Bank. That's just incompetence. That's what that is. We gotta hold our own nuts to a certain extent. We can't just always blame shit on the control and being subjugated by the white man. That shit will only go so far. You know what I'm saying? Because if that's the case for Japan, then damn, it really looked bad for Africa. Then if Japan is being subjugated too, look at Japan and look at us. And the first thing he'll say, well, that was the trade deals. Like, you don't know their culture. Look at their culture. Them people are different. They had already proven themselves to be a hell of a manufacturer before the Marshall Plan and all that shit even happened. They'd already proven that they could get out there and compete and even defeat Russian army. They defeated the Russians. After 30 years after Admiral Perry came, they was whooping the Russians' ass. Think about that shit. That would be like in 1500, right? They started going down to parts of Africa. And by 1545, let's say, they defeating the British. Like, think about that shit. That's amazing. That speaks to them. That speaks to them. We was more so trying to hold on to our tradition. And when you want to try to do that shit, sometimes you got to be smart enough. This is why the one thing I think we can learn primarily, they were smart enough to realize that this other culture was just a superior culture. And so they said, well, we will lose if we go to war with them. They are much more advanced than we are. Let's learn. They didn't work. They marveled at their culture. They didn't worship them because they wouldn't. If you worship somebody, you gonna turn around and whoop their ass 30 years later. They used to worship the Chinese. Then they went and kicked the Chinese ass. After they defeated the Russians, they went and started subjugating them. You feel me? So, I mean, it's something that can be learned from watching and observing from certain things, man. But look at the standard of living despite of the World Bank. Yeah, exactly. They have been in recession since the late 1980s. They call them 89ers. We have a long and strong world history, but we never talk about how we lost power and we never was able to get it back. It was nothing to do with enslavement, the enslavement narrative. Brother, that's what I'm talking about. See, that's some mature shit. When you could get past your emotions. See, let me tell you what the narrative that the Hoteps will have you believe. They will have you believe that you are superior to everybody. You are gods. You are this, you are that, right? You are God incarnate, right? But the only reason that you being subjugated is because these lesser beings who technically aren't as smart as you, right, are evil, and they doing shit that nobody ever did before that, and we've never seen this, and we're so loving. This is why we let this shit. Man, get the fuck out of here. You believe that shit you want? I don't believe that. I don't believe it. I think what the real thing is, brothers, is that we have been incompetent. We have squandered opportunities, resources. We have fought against one another. See, I'm gonna tell you the beautiful thing about when the church came into Japan. They stopped fighting with each other because they was like the Warring States period ended when they started adopting that belief system. And then once the Warring States period ended, they started revolting. They wasn't like us when they us. That ain't got nothing to do with the faith. They started revolting against Ieyasu Shiagawa because he was subjugating them. And he had to go make a deal with the Dutch to put them down, put down the Christian Japanese people. So it's a whole different history. So when that brother came in my comment section, they didn't have no Abrahamic religion. Nigga, you dumb as hell. Like this is how Hoteps think though. You know what I'm saying? And we do YouTube research. Instead of going and just go type up something and go read something off a university website or some shit. Go read some of that shit. That way you'll actually be able to speak intelligently about these subjects. Instead of just watching videos, but we don't like to really read. We'd rather just watch a video and brag about knowing history. You know what I'm saying? That's why I put the Magi out there, because the Magi restoration is actually probably one of the biggest and that's one of the greatest things I ever seen in history that people were able to do with the European culture. They pretty much played chess with their ass. You got to remember, guy, I know how powerful, like, because I used to love history, took a lot of histories in school. One of the biggest things that I learned was that all my teachers would always say about the Japanese was that these people are great, lovers of industry and merchant, and they were great merchants. The merchant class was a large segment of the population. They actually had the samurai were actually indebted to the merchants because the samurai was at the top of their social pyramid. And so they were like warlords and stuff like that, but they weren't really at war during that time that Ieyasu Shiagawa had set up. So what happened was they kind of got stopped. And I think I'm mispronouncing the last name. Last name ain't Shiagawa, it's something else. Imatsu something. But anyway, they messed around and got stuck with, getting in debt, man. And the merchant class rose up. That's why I like Tomiso. Tomiso talks about the merchant class and merchant people that are usually the hated and despised people. They actually wound up being successful. Like the Chinese in Southeast Asia are hated and despised. And there have been times where thousands of them have been killed because they're the merchant class. People don't like the merchant class. They think they evil. They have a reputation. They say that about the Jews, but they say that about the small hats, but I got my other reasons why I don't fuck with them. Y'all know why. A whole bunch of reasons. the manipulation and evil. It ain't like they just doing business and minding their business. That's not what they do. They do other shit. That's very factual. See what I'm saying? That's different. Still, universities still say Columbus discovered, man. It took a history college. It took a lot. I didn't. Okay, so if your ass go read something off a university website and they tell you that Christopher Columbus discovered America and you believe that shit, then that's your stupidity. That's your dumb ass. If you go read a damn, or you read some shit like that, you got to be able to learn how to decipher shit for yourself. Damn. So what you trying to say, that I need to just go listen to these lectures on the YouTube and that's the only real information where motherfuckers telling us we God? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that shit don't mean nothing to me. I mean, I don't think that point needs to be made. You know, that's just me. No offense. I don't agree with that. I don't think it, just because the university say that Christopher Columbus, what I was talking about was people that have done studies on this shit exhaustively and have put it through a university press. A university press is when shit has been vetted by a myriad of scholars. That's what I meant, right? None of that shit you see on YouTube, a lot of these little lectures that you see from the 80s, that shit ain't been vetted for real. It's just some guy who probably has an honorary doctorate lecturing, talking, right? And then we so ignorant, we don't know what the fuck we talking about. So we take that shit as gospel, not really having vetted that shit. That's what I'm talking about. Most of the shit you see these guys putting up ain't been vetted. I took a history in college. I know most of it was BS. Nah, because when you said that sugar rate, what I was saying was, no, I'm not saying that you should go to a university, and I'm not trying to misread it. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying you should take everything they say at face value, but it has been, I'm talking about stuff that's been vetted. That's all I was saying, sister. No offense. Sorry. Sub-Zero, what he's saying is, I don't go too far either in the direction of seek truth, validity in your quest for information. Sub-Zero, what he's saying is, don't go too far in either direction. Seek truth, validity in your quest for information. We need to take the successful from everyone without lionizing them. Their government and their central bank are in bed. Well, brothers, I'm gonna say this. When it comes to banking, the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and the Federal Reserve are crooks. And they have pretty much subjugated, they've conquered the world. Okay? That's true. That's true. But guys, China is right now positioning themselves to have to one day break free of that shit. They're not gonna, like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody ain't just laying down, man. Like, but it ain't gonna always stay. See, and that's the thing that I dislike about when I try to talk to people about Africa and incompetence and shit that they did over there. And when I talk about America and the incompetence and the shit that we do over here, we use racism, white supremacy. We use the International Monetary Fund in Africa. No. And when I could point to statistical metrics, your lack of effort and your incompetence and your just downright ignorance and how you don't do what you're supposed to do, and they don't do what they're supposed to do in Africa, people get, no, that ain't it. Yes, the fuck it is. That shit is a major part, a major contributor to it. When a guy like Thomas Sankara and the African leaders in Africa are so upset with Thomas Sankara that they go to the UN and they go to the French bitching, telling them, hey man, y'all got to get rid of this guy. He's embarrassing us. He's this, he's that. And his best friend kills him. His best friend, I'll take that later. His best friend kills him, and he winds up I think he still run Burkina Faso to this day, if I'm not mistaken. You know what I'm saying? This dude was one of the few African leaders that had them doing their own manufacturing, had them doing their own shit, and was basically doing what Japan had. He was going in the direction of what the Japanese was doing. He was actually doing that, and they killed him. See what I'm saying? How the Asians run their economy versus the Westerners. Only thing I'm saying, guys, and this is the thing, before you guys come in, go watch the documentary Restoration. The Japanese, unlike a lot of us did not hold on to their traditions in many ways. They held on to some, but they really went full speed into the Western culture because they saw it as superior. and because of that, they were actually successful and they weren't subjugated as much as a lot of other nations. That you cannot replace. That's called exactly Thomas Sowell. Thank you, William Powell. Thomas Sowell talks about that. But see, usually what we do is we'll buck against some shit like that, and we'll call niggas that do that sellouts and coons. And their people, their little hoteps that were called the shoguns and you know, that were against it. They had a war, and they pretty much they went to war and killed them off. They killed off their hoteps. You know what I'm saying? But they still kept certain parts of it, the way of the Bushido, way of the way of the blade, the way of the samurai. They still very proud as a people, but they killed off their little hoteps. See, we ain't killed our hoteps run our culture, or run whatever we call it, because we don't got a culture, right? Right, people. But you know what I'm saying? Our hoteps are revered. You know what I'm saying? We love those guys. Whereas the people today, like myself, if you took brothers like me, James Earl Mones, and we just took some guns and we just went at it, and they let us kill off the hoteps, all the Poindexters. That's what basically happened. The coons, the people that are called sellouts, killed off the people that want to hold on to the old ways, right? And what happened, once that happened, they were able to go full speed into modernization and industrialization. It's so much so that they were one of, if not the most powerful. I think, bro, I ain't gonna lie, I was so impressed. If you go study World War II, I was so impressed with the way they operated and the way they were able to bring America to its knees into a that little bit ass country fought us to a stalemate, guys. Look at Vietnam. I mean, come on, guys. Come on. Them people don't play over there, right? Them folks ain't scared to die. Kamikaze, they was coming in, just coming straight, just killing everybody, right? And so what happened, they were so fierce of fighters that we had to drop bombs to stop them. That was the only thing that's helped us. We fought. Iwo Jima was bloody, dude. They wasn't playing over there. It ain't like we conquered the Germans. We was able to get at the Germans. Them folks was on something else, man. And so what happened, that's why they can't have a military. That's why we got rid of their military. And we got troops over there in Okinawa right now to protect them. And they one of our allies, even though they ain't got no, they don't have no military. You know what I'm saying? But there's something that we can learn from that. And I know when I talk about these types of subjects, black men gonna have a myriad of opinions about why I don't know what I'm talking about. Just go watch it. This shit I'm saying is undeniable. And I think that where we probably go wrong is we don't know how to identify a superior culture and adopt certain things from it. And we get caught in the weeds. We don't have a culture. I don't want to hear that shit. And you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? We don't adopt from other people. We don't. We see that shit and be like, damn, because we don't work hard. A lot of us don't. And when I say, when I say we don't work hard, I say, hey, man, we need to adopt this and adopt that. We need to go into this. We need to go into that. You got niggas calling me a sellout and a coon, and this nigga don't know what he talking about, and he's stupid. See, those niggas, those are the samurais. The Hotep niggas are like the samurais. They want to hold on to some shit that happened in Kemet 10,000 years ago. 200 million years ago, we built the pyramids. Them the niggas you don't need to listen to. See what I'm saying? And we need to kind of get rid of that. What does this have to do with ADOS? I said, what can the descendants of slaves learn from them? I'm talking about us. When I talk about us in the hotels, I'm talking about Americans. When I talk about Africa, primarily, if you have a Pan-African mindset, I do kind of see those as our brothers and sisters. Distant, not super distant, but yeah, those are our brothers and sisters. I kind of look at it from that mindset. So ADOS, I should have just said black people. But what I'm talking about is how we can learn from what they did. They do have a defensive military. I trained with them. You can't have a full-on standing military since World War II. Now they might have something, but I don't know. I had to look into that. We took their military. They took parts of our economy. Yeah, but they took that shit because they actually. One of the reasons I think they were able to do that is because of the way they are as a people. I don't think it has shit to do with what people think. People think the Marshall Plan. Right now, if I gave black folks $10,000 a piece, what the fuck would it do? The Marshall Plan, they didn't just write checks to the Japanese. As a people, they came together and built certain industries, right? They listened to their Booker T. Washington, if you will. See what I'm saying? We call Booker T. Washington a coon. Booker T. Washington actually if I really go back to it, that's actually more so what the Japanese did was what Booker T. Washington preached. They implemented that shit, and you can see what happened. Third largest economy in the world. I true history, but you got to be able to adapt your culture for their future. Don't think we should forget the true facts. Okay, I can look. I like history just like everybody. I'm not saying forget what shit. That's the most disrespectful thing you can do. Is forget your ancestors and what they did and what they suffered and what they've been through and the victories that we had throughout history. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I could do that. They can't have offensive military, but they can't have a defensive military. LOL. I'm a Marine. We have bases all over Okinawa and mainland Japan. But Japanese and the Chinese were allowed to because of the greed of the white man, his desire to always seek the lowest capital cost of capital. Guys, let me say something. Know your history before you. This the thing, brother. They wanted to subjugate the Japanese and couldn't. The Japanese defeated the Russians 30 years after running into the Western culture. Why didn't blacks heed Booker T. Washington? Because when he did the Atlanta Compromise, he made a speech, and a lot of black folks got up and walked out. They felt like he was a coon. They felt like they wanted equality under Jim Crow, and Booker T was like, you got it good already with a lot of shit you can do that you own and control right now. Don't integrate. You know, we wanted integration. We wanted to follow W.E.B. Du Bois, who later on died pretty bitter in Ghana. He died the day that Martin Luther King gave the I Have a Dream speech. And he was pretty bitter when he died. And he, you know, and people would call Booker T. Washington a coon. He actually would get offended by that shit. And like, no, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Because Booker T. Washington, I agree, I think was right. It's just my opinion. Cultures is simply shared values to help maintain a people. We have no values to fight for. Therefore, we have no culture. Individualism is our only saving grace. That's the thing. I don't get into those conversations because I think we do have a lot of shared values as Americans. I do. I think African Americans and white Americans, we do have something in common now. If to say that if your ass went and moved to the bush in Africa and you have more in common with the people in the bush in Africa, then you done been over here for 500 some odd years living adjacent to white people. The way I talk, the language, this southern drawl you hear, this some shit that we really got from redneck culture. They call it redneck culture. A lot of the shit, this is what I'm talking about. We've adopted that. We just don't value it, but we have adopted that culture. We just don't want to admit the clothes we wear, the shoes we wear, the car we drive, the way we think of dating. Everything about us is American, man. We just, you know what I'm saying? And even with white people, they done adopted our shit. The way they talk, the little what's up. When they say what's up, that's some black shit. That's what we started. You know what I'm saying? When you hear the term rock and roll, that's an old 1920s sexual term that black people started. See what I'm saying? So culture, you'd be surprised if you really start out. It ain't like that, guys. Economic equality will come with economic power. Facts. I agree. I like the message of Booker T. Makes more sense. Yeah, it does now because we can sit and look back almost 100 years, actually over 100 years from that speech and see the failure and erroneousness of trying to run and trying to get quote unquote equality, right? Because what happened is we got screwed, as you can see. So now we can say that. But back then, when people was getting hung just for looking at a white woman and stuff, that sounded like nigga just take it and take it with a smile. That's what it sounded like. I think he went a little too hard with it. That's just me. And secretly, Booker T. Washington despised a lot of these crackers. Don't get it twisted. You know what I'm saying? You found some letters. He actually got stumped out by some white dudes he was trying to visit a friend in a neighborhood. And some white dudes just jumped on him and whooped him like real bad. Just for nothing. You know what I'm saying? Booker T couldn't stand their ass. Don't get it twisted. See, I wouldn't say the European culture is superior to their technology and means of production is. Okay, you ain't got to say it. Just understand that that's what it is. The Japanese, they pretty much probably wouldn't say it either, but they did go and adopt damn near everything in their culture. Bro, I think you want to check out. Just go look at it, man. I can tell you probably don't know too much. Check it out, see what they did. And it worked. See what I'm saying? It worked. If you adopt that, fine. However you adopt it, fine. How that looks like, I don't think you need to do exactly what the Japanese did, but adopting their means of production, manufacturing, adopting their technology. Part of that is adopting a lot of their culture too. One of the guys even went and took Bismarck. One of the guys even took their constitution and tried to implement it. See what I'm saying? I mean, these people really, I got respect for them. I got a lot of respect for how they did it. Why are we very Americanized and hate ourselves over it? For it? I don't know. Man, you American. I don't have no problem. I ain't ashamed of it. I don't give a damn. I'm American. I'm American. If we take our ass right now and became a nation in the slap dab in the middle of Africa, literally within 10 years, our ass would be fighting with our own quote unquote brothers and sisters across the sea. They'll do what they were supposed to do. That's a fact. I know I lost a lot of people with that. Damn, I lost almost half my stream saying that shit. Facts. Sorry. Every once in a while, I got to shorten my damn subscribership by going live. Every once in a while, I got to say some shit and I lose half my damn subscribers. I lose a bunch. I lose hundreds of people because I tell the truth. At least I feel like it is. Let's see. We can't do what the Japanese did because Japanese practice neo-Confucianism. They're practicing. They practice a shaming culture. People from the West practice a guilt culture. Most black people have no shame. I mean, yeah, but you getting into us now. I'm not talking about, I'm saying what we can learn from them. I agree. I think that black people have not, in certain instances, I don't think we tend to embrace morality and a certain, because you talking about morals when you say shame. You talking about black people have no shame in a sense. We don't. But that's been socially engineered. And if we wake up in a sense, not become woke, but you get what I'm saying. Wake up in a sense, we can go back to our traditions. We had traditions. Like we would shame a woman for walking around with her ass out. Women thought that, even men thought that was messed up back in the day. A man would say, damn, she got a fat ass, but he'd be like, she shouldn't be walking around like that. Every guy would say, now you got this women's liberation and sexual freedom has cost us a lot. That shit done a lot of damage in the black community. Women's liberation, that gets rid of marriage. The freer women are sexually, the less men gonna get married because they like, oh shit, oh she getting pussy away. I ain't got the, okay, yeah, baby. Go ahead, show me that coochie. Twerk for me. Let me see it. That nigga ain't finna marry your ass. He just gonna hit. Idiot. You know what I'm saying? The more you do that, the less a lot of women are not gonna get married. That's just facts. When you get rid of families, that shit is like a chain reaction. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Swim team to weed out potential. Great point, brother. Great point. You said we don't have no shame though. So I think both of you guys are kind of similar. Everything reversed and you see the consequences. Yeah. Women's lib destroyed the black family. Guys, I gotta go. I got a meeting in 2 minutes. Y'all have a good one.